This is from over-under. So obviously I'm underhook on the far side, on the near side. I'm gonna be cupping the tricep. I want to bring my head over here to be able to start working for shin mount. So we can start working all of our magic. But our partner's doing a good job framing, so I can't bring my head over here. So I'm gonna use this by lifting up. This elbow, guys, is actually gonna get caught in my hip. So my hips and my body are gonna bring his elbow above his head. And I want my shoulder, guys, framing into this forearm here. It'll start a little in the elbow, but I wanna move my shoulder to the forearm because I can actually pin his arm down. If I'm at his elbow, he can still rotate his wrist up. When I'm pinning at the forearm with my body and my shoulder, he can't rotate that wrist up. So we're here, I'm lifting, and I'm gonna drive off of my feet, guys. So I'm gonna drive here, and watch how I move my shoulder from his elbow to then his forearm. Now, with this arm trapped with this leg, my left hand, guys, is gonna come up, and I'm going to grab the wrist and rotate it away from me. My right hand, guys, is directly under his shoulder, and I wanna do my best to keep it there. It's a very strong position. So now I'm gonna push my right hand through, and I'm gonna grab my own bicep. This is very tight. I feel it all the way across his back right now. So now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate his wrist down and lift, and they're gonna tap very quick. There are times when you lock this up that you'll end up almost getting a tap immediately. Like this feels horrible for Addison. Feels great for me though.
So if his arm's on the far side here, I'm always gonna go the opposite direction of where his arm is that's closest to my hips. So if it's blocking my hips here, I need to turn towards my partner. But what's preventing me from doing that is this elbow being at the mat, because it's not gonna allow my hips to shrimp out. So what I need to be able to do is I need to build my frames to where the arm that's closest to my partner's hips, I'm gonna go elbow in first, and my forearm is just framing at the hip. It's not my hand, it's just the forearm. My hand, guys, is gonna come as close as it can to the neck. What I'm looking to do is get my forearm in the throat. So if he's tucking his chin real tight and it's hard to get to the throat, you just lift up the chin a little bit. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop my elbow quicker than his chin can, and I'm gonna find his throat. What I'm gonna do now is I'm not gonna push up with my wrist. I'm actually gonna lift my elbow above my head here. So when I do that, it's gonna get his elbow off of the mat, which is gonna allow my hips to escape. So I'm gonna build my frames, lift my elbow higher than my wrist, and as I do that, my feet come to my butt, and I'm gonna push my hips away from my partner. Generally, you can do it with one big one, but if you need to use two, you can. Now I bring my knees to my chest. When my knee gets in to where it's framing now, my arm that was framing at the hip has to come out and frame at the bicep or the shoulder. Now I pull my foot out, I go to the hip, where you either go to close guard, or you can play any other guard, or go for any other submission that you want to go for. So, again, we're framing on the far hip here. I'm gonna build my frames, forearm to the throat, lifting my elbow above my head. So my elbow goes higher than the wrist to get this elbow off the mat. I'm gonna hip out, bring my knees to my chest,